Good morning, everyone. I'd like to recognize a few folks who are with us today before we get started. We have Councilmember Chuck Ellinger. We have Councilmember Jennifer Reynolds, Councilmember Liz Sheehan, Councilmember Richard Maloney is with us. Any other council members here this morning? Thank you all for being here. We have a number of folks who have joined me this morning, and I'd like to just kind of run through who is up here, part of our team today. We have Chief Lawrence Weathers, Sheriff Kathy Witt. We have Commissioner Ken Armstrong, Commissioner Charlie Lanter is here, Commissioner Chris Ford, Commissioner Susan Speckert, Commissioner Casey Allen Bryant, my Chief Development Officer, Kevin Adkins, is with us. We have Amy Baker, whose job is with substance use. Darlene Thomas, who heads up Greenhouse 17. Stephanie Theakston, Domestic Violence. Divine Karama, One Lexington. Larry Johnson, who works part with One Lexington and part with our substance use disorder. And I'm hoping I didn't miss anyone. I think I got everybody up here, and those of you in the crowd, thank you for being here. Oh, did I miss you, Chris Ford? Okay. I don't ever want to miss you. These are just a few of the people on my team in the administration who work every day on issues for the people of Lexington. So Lexington is a wonderful place to live, to work, to raise your family. And while we are facing some of the same violent crime issues as other cities our size, issues we've all come to realize we have never had to deal with before, not in this manner. Lexington has some things going for it that are missing in other cities, and let me tell you about some of those. We have a great public safety team that works together at the local, state, and federal level. And I can't stress enough how strong this team is at fighting crime here in Lexington. We have dedicated public servants and private citizens who work with us every day on these issues. Together, this team is making a difference. And I have a great deal of confidence in this team as well as in our residents. So let me just say from the beginning here, the violence that we are seeing on our streets really angers me, and it should anger you. It is brazen, it is bold, and it is without shame. There are too many guns in the hands of criminals with ill intentions. Let me say that again. There are too many guns in the hands of criminals who have ill intentions. This is what we're talking about this morning. There has been a shift in our society, and many of you know it, where some people now choose to settle their disagreements with guns. They don't talk to each other. They don't try to work it out. They grab the gun. The pandemic has had a detrimental impact on many people, and we have not yet fully grasped the total impact of that. We are determined to hold the criminals committing these violent and destructive criminal acts accountable. As a community, we must call out this unacceptable behavior when we see it and report it every time we're aware of it. If people have information about a crime, they need to contact Crime Stoppers. It's totally anonymous. Today, I want to share some facts with you because facts have often been ignored or intentionally distorted in our public discussions on violence, which tends to focus only on numbers and misleading discussions of quick fixes. This is not a quick fix, folks. It didn't happen overnight. I want to talk about some of the most important ways that Lexington is working to stop this violence. Our plan impacts root causes, as well as the here and now. They're both important. It integrates partners from every corner of our city. And some of you in this audience today are those volunteers from the neighborhoods. We're constantly adapting. Almost everything this government does, directly or indirectly, touches public safety or violence prevention and intervention. Think about it. Almost everything. The council and I have devoted more resources and support to these efforts than ever before in our city's history. This includes resources for police, plus violence prevention and intervention, homelessness prevention, affordable housing, eviction prevention, substance use disorder, social services, and other root causes of violence. Now let's start with a look at the homicides this year, the number that people focus on. Our homicide rate related to domestic violence has increased 1,100% over last year. Our homicide rate related to domestic violence has increased 1,100% over last year. 12 domestic violence homicides, 1/3 of our total homicides this year. We work with Domestic and Sexual Violence Prevention Coalition to address these issues related to identifying and preventing ongoing violence. Lexington has a lot of services to help families and individuals facing danger inside their homes. Many victims suffer in silence because they feel they have nowhere to go. If you don't know where to go, you can call my office, you can call 311. Darlene Thomas from Greenhouse 17 has a number you can call. We will find you a safe place. In addition, filling vacancies in police is another challenge we face. It's a challenge in cities throughout the United States. We have raised police salaries. We continue to work to compete with the departments around us. We continue to seek remedies to improve recruitment and retention. Our numbers are slowly improving, but it takes time. Our chief knows he has authorization to use as much overtime as he needs to keep us safe. In the meantime, part of my job is to make sure our police have the tools they need to do their jobs. They need to know we appreciate the job they do, and they need to know that every day. Today, technology is an important tool for our police. Even though the pilot project is only a few months old, our flock license plate readers have already proven to be highly successful at helping our police catch the criminals. This is what we want, right? Since the first reader was installed in March of 2022, License plate readers have helped our police department recover 73 stolen vehicles worth over an estimated $1.2 million. They've located 11 missing persons and furthered 35 criminal investigations and more. I know many of our council members have seen the positive results of this, and I hope they will be ready to move forward with a larger implementation of this system. It is working. Our police need to have the latest crime-fighting technology that's available to them. It takes technology, but it also takes commitment from our community to fight crime. We have more committed partners in street outreach, law enforcement, partner agencies, businesses, schools, and individual community volunteers than we have ever had in our history. We are thankful for those partners. We know that law enforcement can't and should not be expected to meet these challenges alone. Our One Lexington Youth Violence Prevention Program also depends on partnerships. One Lexington is starting to show success. We have significantly fewer homicide victims age 13 to 29. One Lexington's hospital-based violence intervention program, safety net, violence intervention work group, and mediation efforts are changing lives for the better. These are programs that are based on best practices from around the country. In closing today, I want people to know that I hear you. I share your frustrations every single day. And I want our residents to know how many dedicated servants there are in this wonderful community working on these issues every day and communicating with our peers across the country to find solutions. We will not be defined by those who don't want the best for our great city of Lexington. Thank you very much, and I'm sure many of these folks up here will be happy to answer questions. Do you have questions? Yes, ma'am.
I know there's been talks about another contract with FOP for more money. Can you talk about that and how you think that would help police during this time?
We are getting ready to sit down and have some talks with the FOP in the hope that we can have some important memorandum of agreements that come out of that and take those to the council.
I know there's talks of more money after, giving them police $15,000 in increased compensation over the past year. And I know there's talks of even more that will include amending something in the budget, or where do you hope to get this money from, and do you think the money will help?
We haven't sat down with the FOP yet, so we don't know what they're going to talk about. If more money is part of the discussion, the council will have to figure out where to get that money.
Mayor, what needs to be done that isn't being done to keep repeat offenders off the streets?
That's not a question for me because I'm the executive of the city. I don't know if anyone is here from the judicial side, or Chief, do you have any thoughts? Anybody have any thoughts on this? We do a lot. What we're talking about that the city and our partners do is to keep it from happening in the beginning. I think what your question is about is repeat offenders. And so that is outside my realm of expertise.
And also, I've interviewed, and I know several reporters have interviewed people who are now saying they're afraid to come to downtown Lexington after dark. What do you say to them?
Well, I come downtown after dark. People want to know if we're an unsafe city. I think that putting these numbers in perspective and understanding all of the work that is going on, and the fact that aside from the domestic violence homicides, most of those kinds of things are happening after midnight. People need to be aware, we're all taught when we're out and about just to be aware of our surroundings and what we're doing and that sort of thing. So I come downtown all the time, morning, noon, and night. So, yes.
I heard what you said as far as help from the community.
Mm-hmm.
My grandson was killed in Detroit.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Mm.
Okay, I've been the community since my grandson passed away. Was a violent crime, was an intent plate, but they said I solved this murder. My thing is, I call, I give information. When the young lady, college student from UK got killed around Lexington, because I'm very close to a lot of kids, and they will call me and give me information. I called and talked to Chief Weathers and told him the young man, Marcus Sanford, was the guy after shooting that night. He shot her and killed her. He shot my oldest grandson's cousin, which he had to go, Dr. God, he's alive, had to go to rehab, all of that. His aunt called me and asked me to call back downtown to tell them who it was. And I told her that maybe she needed to call because I had already did that. I called to tell that one person, Marcus Sanford, since the Untitled Chapter incident. They couldn't seem to pick him up. I got a call from a student in Taste Creek High School telling me that Marcus Sanford was there subbing. This boy had an active wound. How did he get through the cracks? And was subbing at a high school when he had a warrant for wanton endangerment or assault. Him and his crew have been out here terrorizing the city. As a matter of fact, Saturday, when all that commotion went on at UK, the reason I wasn't there at the time the commotion started was because Marcus Sanford poured this spit on me. So I had to go home and change.
Let's hear from Chief Weathers.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, very, very sorry for your loss. And as we talked about that, and I explained to you that people bring us information all the time, but we have to corroborate that. I don't know about his warrants or whatever, but one of my people right there in the back behind you is in charge of our Bureau of Investigations, and they will talk to you right now and answer some of the questions you have. So, Lieutenant Peterson, can you?
Thank you very much.
Well, but this is really not the forum for this.
But I never can get in touch with you on that.
Well,
You don't answer my call. You won't see me when I come downtown.
you know that is not true. You know that is not true. You know that is not
Ma'am.
true. Thank you, but we want to help you. We want to help you, so let's get you what we need, what we need. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Other questions? Okay.
or either one of you, a program like One Lexington, the impact of that takes time, as we know, it's only been a year.
Yes.
Is there anything tangible that can be done, that you kick around, whether it's with chief or with council members, that can be put into place almost immediately to try to?
Well, I'll just say from my perspective, we have already done a good bit, and we're seeing successes. Divine could talk about the One Lexington piece that you asked about, and the multitude of programs he has going on and volunteers he has in the community. And I don't know if you're interested in some of that detail, because it's pretty impactful. We believe that our police People say, well, the police should have prevented this shooting or that shooting. The police can't be on every square foot of Fayette County at every moment. And so we've put into place, I mentioned the license plate readers. Those are having great success as a tool for these investigations. We have put more money into salaries, recruiting and retention. That is happening now. We know that it's a highly competitive world out there for public safety officers, and there are a lot of those around us, different entities that hire those officers, so it's very competitive. But I wonder if Divine could talk just a little bit about some of the specific programs, where'd you go, Divine, that you have particularly in the schools and with the mentors and those sorts of things.
Sure. I lost my voice speaking to kids yesterday. Can we just take just a quick moment of silence just for victims, please? I appreciate that. I just don't want us forgetting about those that have lost their life and then the survivors that are continuing to deal with this. And so, Lexington does have a lot of things going on, but most of it is through our community partners. Like the mayor says, so much of what we do is kind of behind the scenes that we can't talk about in detail, but one of those things is our relationship with UK Trauma Center, and now Lexington Rescue Mission through the Safety Net program. A matter of fact, just this morning, I got a call to help a family get relocated. And so we are not law enforcement, and so the enforcement part is something obviously we can't do, but everything else we try to dig our feet into. What are the root causes? When we notice conflicts that are going on in the street, in the neighborhood, in the school, how can we and our street outreach workers get it early to possibly mediate that conflict? How are we keeping families safe? Families who are completely innocent. Maybe their nephew is involved in something. Maybe somebody thinks they know something. Maybe they feel that they have talked to law enforcement, and so now they're being targeted. So what can we do to keep families on both sides safe? So a lot of that stuff we can't really talk about in detail because we want to keep the street outreach workers that we work with safe. But how do you quantify the homicides and the shootings that don't happen? Because each and every day, we are seeing conflicts that could easily go one way, but through the work of our community partners, thank God, we're able to see them go another way. And so when we talk about quick fixes or stuff that we can just implement, from our perspective, nothing is really quick. I mean, we've seen it impact a little bit this year with our age group, but we're talking root causes. Just like the pandemic exposed things that have been going on for decades, same thing with gun violence. So these aren't things that's just going to be fixed overnight. That's just the truth. And two, Lexington has never really seen this level of it. So we're still building our infrastructure. A lot of things other cities are doing, when they hear about what we're doing, they said, okay, you all are on the right track. But they've had years of this level of violence to build that infrastructure. We've never had that, so we're just building it. But I do feel like we're making gains, but we're just gonna keep working hard. Our police force is doing a great job. Everybody up here is doing great. And so I don't know if there's just one quick thing. I know people would make you feel that that's possible, but it don't really work like that, so.
Are you seeing a shift within the youth you've been talking to? So yesterday you just talked to a group of students. Are you starting to sense that they're more willing to be open with you?
Yes, but to answer your first question, there's a huge shift. It's a huge shift, and it breaks my heart because I've been working with young people for 10 years. It's a huge shift, and people got to understand that. From the music to the social media, coming out of this pandemic, the amount of guns that are on the street, we're seeing things in 10 and 11-year-olds that we weren't seeing until they were in high school when I was coming up. So yes, there is a shift, and we can't be afraid to say that. But that is why street outreach, mediation, mentoring, people from the community continuing to step up matters. Because we are trying to evolve with this shift, and they need people that they can relate to and talk to. So it's definitely a shift, and it's not just frustrating, it breaks my heart. But we are trying to keep up with that shift, and so it's definitely a shift in the culture, and it's everywhere. I was in Charlotte yesterday. They're dealing with the same thing. It's everywhere. It's not just Lexington. I know it doesn't make anybody feel any better, but it's a national, cultural, societal shift that we are experiencing that we're trying to combat.
Talk a little bit about your mentors.
Sure. And we probably have now about 40 to 50 mentors that we work with. We got 14 in-school mentoring programs, including all the alternative schools that'll be starting next week. And a lot of those alternative schools, unfortunately, are the schools that have a lot of these young people that are in the cycle of violence. So that's the Learning Center, Success Academy, and other schools, as well as our middle schools and high schools and high crime areas. And so our mentors come in every week at the minimum, and they talk about conflict resolution. They talk about money management, ways they can make money, generational curses. And so just the other night, Councilmember Chuck, where you at? I'll give him a shout out because he showed up. We put a call out to the community for people to come out and help monitor the late night at Roots. You know, this work isn't just when it's sunny outside and it's pretty. It's not just coming into the school building where it's cameras. Are you willing to come out into the neighborhood, to the street, and engage these youth? For the last several years, there have been issues with youth at Roots and Heritage Festival. We put a call out to the community. Chuck and many others came out in our orange shirts, and we didn't have any major issues at Roots. Now, by the time I got to my phone at 12:30, there were a lot of issues going on around the city, but that's just the nature of the work. It's not that people aren't out here doing their best. Law enforcement did a great job. It's just so much going on, and we're all doing the best that we can do.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Either for you or Chief Weathers, but do you know why one of the armed suspects arrested at the hospital over the weekend, who was just previously arrested in a different United law, do you know why he was out on the street?
I mean, I don't know all the mechanics of it, but the court system has their bail system, a bond system, or whatever, and they go by that. We don't have any control or any decision-making abilities in that.
How many of the suspects or arrests have been repeat offenders?
Do you have any idea?
Which suspects in general?
Just this year alone.
I don't have that, but I'm sure we could probably get that for you if you want to file an open records request. We could probably get that.
Chief, a lot of comments have been made recently about how LPD right now is understaffed and overworked. You guys are working so hard, but we see the comments on our Facebook. How many officers are you guys down right now, and how is that impacting your work, if at all? I know a lot of people are wondering this right now. And there's rumors, so if you could just quash the rumors right now, that would really help.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not going to lie to you. We are short. We're 86. We have 86 vacancies. We're authorized to have 639. We have 29 recruits in the academy. Some people want to add those 29 recruits on and make it 115. That is really not accurate, and they're looking at those being people off the street. What we do is we adjust our numbers internally from some of our internal bureaus, and we maintain the number of people that we have out on the street. We have at a minimum, we have minimum levels. We try to maintain the minimum levels, and when we can't do that, we try to supplement that with overtime assignments. With that being said, y'all need to realize the work we do is hard. And I think the police department here has proven that beyond a doubt that we are here for this city. If you had seen these last couple of weeks, the amount of effort and time our police have spent working on issues, the dedication, the personal dedication they take in making this city safe. You know why I always say we set the standard. You've got very professional police here. And yes, they went through some things over the last couple of years where we got lumped in together with police departments all over the country and some of the bad things that some police did. We overcame that, and I know we proved to you that we are not that type of police department. And let me tell you something. When I have police leave, they're leaving because they feel like they're not appreciated. It's time to stop all this nonsense and realize that you've got a different community here and start appreciating what your police do for you. Start appreciating what your E911 workers do for you. Start appreciating what your fire department does for you. Start appreciating what your corrections officers do for you. That's what we need when we say community involvement. We need you to be involved with public safety. I'm sorry, but thank you.
No, you're fine, Chief. Come on.
How can you do that? Appreciate what your police do. Appreciate what your public safety does. Let them know it. When something happens in this community, or before it happens, if you get an inkling about it, call somebody. Let them know. You know, you can be anonymous. You can use Crime Stoppers, or you can use P3, but don't let them scare you into that. The stuff that's happening out here, it's happening because we are letting the criminals win. We cannot do that anymore. If you want this place to remain the best place, stand up, say something, step out and step in and get involved. Get involved with a young person. Call Divine, he needs your help. That's what you need to do to get involved.
What is the police force doing to kind of, I guess, deal with some of the mistrust in these communities? Because that's probably a reason why there's a lack of corroboration within the community.
You know, the mistrust in this community, it wasn't earned by our police officers. It was earned by police officers probably in another state. Our police officers have always been trustworthy far and wide. Get to know a police officer, you know. They want you to come up. They want you to talk to them. We go out of our way to build that community presence and to build that trust. So what we're doing is we're trying to let you know that we are people. We are people of your community.
Chief, when you're down, the number of officers you said you're down, do you have to focus on certain areas, nuisance areas that you know of, and maybe deprive other areas of some of that attention?
Here's the toll it takes on your officers. We cannot deprive areas of attention. We have to continue to multitask. And if we're short officers, we give them extra tasks. They take that on, head on, and they know it's extra work. But they believe in what they're doing, so they do it.
Are you making any changes in the State Street area? Are we going to continue to go out there, or
Well, State Street is a residential area, so we can't just shut it down. I don't think we were expecting the level of celebration that we saw and the level of criminal activity that we saw for that particular game. What I do know is that I've been in conversations with Chief Joe Monroe, and it's been a while because of the pandemic, but we're going to start partnering again, and we're going to actively and more affirmatively address some of the things we're seeing before they get out of hand, both on campus and off campus. And some of those things we'll be able to take care of with enforcement. Some of the things the University of Kentucky will be able to take care of by seeking administrative action. So we're not going to turn a blind eye to that. I think we're going to turn up, we're going to make sure that they understand they're going to be held accountable for those kind of actions.
Chief, one question here. If no one tells you today, I just want to say thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
We see you and we hear you, and thank you for holding this press conference and, being so forth ahead of this with us. But I do want to ask you on behalf of the community, they saw what happened on State Street, and I know you guys were busy and short-staffed, but some of the people in the community are feeling like it reflects a disparity in police enforcement. Why are they wrong, and what do you want to say to those people who feel that way right now, seeing what they saw in 2020 with the people arrested, and cited and charged for protesting?
We've got that quite often. There's a group that wants to say that. The truth be known, everything we do is the same. I mean, if you break it down, if you want to take a step back and look at it, our officers practice patience, tolerance, and discipline, whether it's a celebration or a demonstration. And, the plan is really simple. People come out to have a voice or express themselves. We allow that. Sometimes we shut down roads for that. But at some point in time, things have to get back to normal. So what we do is we explain to them that things are going back to normal. This is what you're going to do. If you don't do this, then there's going to be consequences. And if they don't do that, or if they take things a step further, then there's consequences. If we see things occurring in our presence and it's safe, we'll deal with them. If we don't see them or it's not safe, then we live in a very digital video world, and we follow up on that aspect of it. So I think it's really, maybe it's a misunderstanding about how we do anything, or it's just that people don't know and they want to see or make it seem like it's a difference, but it's not. It's pretty standard for us. Everything's done the same.
There's photos circulating of officers taking selfies with some of the people involved in the rioting.
What rioting? The celebration or over this past weekend?
On State Street.
It may be, but we did that with some of the demonstrations, some of the protests, some of the announcements. That's nothing different. We even walked with protesters. We knelt with them. So that's nothing new. Like I said, everything's the same.
Chief, you talked about that several members of the force have left because of the stress of the job. What toll is it taking on you?
My wife is my rock. So, and can I tell them we were up? Correspondent Divine is my brother from another mother. And my God and my faith keeps me steady as a rock. So whatever toll it takes on me, you know how long it takes for the waves to wear down a rock. That's how long it's going to take for me. So, but thank you for asking.
Will there be additional forces for the Waiters Club, given what the downtown rioting?
We have so many special events going on. It's just standard practice for us. If it's a city-sponsored event or co-sponsored event, it's just standard practice for us to allot a certain amount of officers to make sure or to help ensure that everybody has a good time.
Has these recent shootings been retaliatory in nature? I know you mentioned a lot of these shootings are between people who know each other.
I really am not in a position to discuss some of them because some of them are open cases, and I don't want to lay down a broad description of them.
Are we seeing increased gang activity? Is there increased gang activity?
We have not seen increased gang activity. As a matter of fact, I think that may be going down, and I say that because I'm not sure we really know have a good definition of what gangs are anymore. It's so fluid, and I think that's the problem with some things. Everybody wants to look at things at how they were in the past and apply old definitions without taking into account the variables that affect every society.
Thank you all very much for being here and for your attention and questions. Appreciate you.